So first of all, I wanted to welcome all the students. I'm so happy to see you again. I used to be an instructor who was teaching social media marketing classes at BCC. So I used to be part of this community and teach these digital things, digital marketing things to everyone. So I do miss you. I haven't been able to teach recently. But a few words about myself. My name is Lana Greenberg, and I'm the marketing and specifically digital communication expert with 20 years of corporate experience into different big international brands you can imagine. In the last 10 years, I'm mostly sharing my knowledge, teaching classes in digital marketing and social media in different colleges. And very recently, I became the college advisor, helping students and high school students and their families navigate the interesting and complicated system of US higher education and find their way with meaningful employment. So hence you have this brand on my background. Okay, without further ado, let's have a look at what I wanted to talk to you today. And for those students who join us, I asked for the sake of recording, we're recording that section, to keep your mics on mute. And if you have questions or comments or anything, we will leave dedicated time at the end of the session. And if you want to keep your questions active, so you don't forget about that while I'm speaking, please put them in the chat. I will definitely leave time to address them all, okay? Let's start then. I'm sharing my screen, and of course, I will be helping with some numbers and pictures because that's the best way to learn. Okay. Okay, please let me know if you can see my screen. You can use the chat. You can use the chat and put the plus sign in the chat, and that means you can see my screen, you can see the slide, and you can still hear me. Sometimes things happen and Zoom is playing tricks. Okay, and I will be looking at the chat just to make sure we all still connected. Awesome. So what we will be talking today, I see it as more of a conversation because there is no winning formula, what you should do, how you should do in this interesting digital world, and the world that is where technologies are shaping that world like every day as we speak, it's still shaping. That's why I decided to start with conversation supported by few numbers. I know that not everyone likes numbers. I am the numbers person. And it definitely helps to put things in perspective. Everyone is talking about job market, how tough it is, especially for college students and fresh graduates. And it's yes and no. So let's look at the numbers first. I also wanted to introduce you, if you are not familiar yet, to the #1 dedicated platform for job search, connection, and internships, and the professional network, #1 and the only dedicated to students and fresh graduates. It's called Handshake. Then I wanted to talk a little more about the #1 professional social media globally. It's #1, it's a holy grail of recruiters, thought leaders, and digital marketers. And finally, we will talk a little more about this automation, AI, and how the digital technologies are shaping the world of recruitment and employment. And there are some myths around that. So I'm going to tell you what exactly happens and if we have any solution for that, how we can navigate that. And as I promised, the questions and answers. I assume you may have more questions or comments, or you would be willing to share your opinion or your experience. Okay, let's start with the numbers. As I suggested, we will look at the longer perspective because a lot of people is talking right now how difficult job market is, that the economy is slowing down, the hiring is slowed down. Yes and no. I know that not everyone likes numbers. It's okay. That's why I will help you. I like to talk with numbers and they tell me stories. So I will tell you their stories. So on the what you see here is few lines, and they are showing the official statistics for unemployment in a certain demographic groups. I assume most of the students here, or most of the people who will be watching the recording, are young. That's why I picked up those economic groups or social groups that are most relevant to you. So here we have few lines that show the percentage of unemployment. I mean, 20% unemployment means 2 out of 10 people are officially unemployed at the moment in this specific group. So out of these lines, and we have 15 years, I mean, quite a trend to actually assess what's happening right now, where we are now. What I suggest we look at, there are few colors here. What I believe is the most relevant to the audience today is the recent college graduates. And this is a light blue line, as you can see, it's here. And the overall population unemployment, so to have some benchmark, is dark, almost like black line here. And people with college education, not recent graduates, but people with college education, they are red line. Okay, so we more or less now understand what to look for. So now let's look at this blue line. This is the percentage that is recorded so far. I don't know if you see the numbers, but it doesn't really matter. It's around 5% at the moment. Is it growing in the last couple of years? Yes, it is. We can see that. But if we look back and put this 5% in the longer perspective, here's the disaster. That was the COVID. That was a real disaster. And this 5% is more or less the number for the blue line throughout these 15 years. And it was much worse in the past. So yes, the market is tight for recent college graduates, but it's not disaster. And we have seen it worse. So no need to panic. We just keep looking at few more numbers to create our own opinion if the market is really that bad, or maybe it's all about perception. Okay, the next number that I suggest you to look, again, very top line. There is also the issue that's called underemployment. Underemployment is the big issue for recent graduates, and it means that they are employed, but they're employed with the job that doesn't usually require a college degree or college education, and that's called underemployment. And historically in US, the underemployment for fresh graduates was pretty high. The orange bar, again, on the vertical, we have percentage of people who are employed, but to the position that does not require typically a college degree. So historically, the fresh graduates, the recent graduates, they were pretty high in this number. I mean, around 40% are underemployed, meaning they are employed, but not how they would probably hope it. But it becomes better. I mean, with time, all college graduates, you see this red, the orange is higher, the gray is lower. It means that it gets better with time. So it just means that if you are not getting your professional career right now, if you're not hired right now, I mean, hired in the position you would like to be hired, it doesn't mean that something is wrong with you, or you are singled out, or you're unlucky, or you're not worthy, or your degree means nothing. No, historically, it is the trend for this market. We like it or not, but that's the reality. And we are looking 15 years back. And again, if we look at these most recent numbers, they're not the worst. It's more or less what we need to expect. If we just persevere and we continue doing right things, eventually you will get the job that you fully deserve and you fully fit. Okay, so that's number 2. Let's look at a couple of more, because now everyone says, oh, hiring is slowing, or it's less and less positions and it's impossible to find the job because no one is hiring right now. Again, yes and no. This number is a little trickier, and as a person who was 20 years in business analytics, I know how much people in number in numbers. They want to show how far away they go, just to show some number to impress their colleagues and bosses. So this is one of those examples. Let me make it simple for you. LinkedIn, I will be talking about that a little later. LinkedIn is the big network where people are mostly keeping their professional updates. So this is the place when people announce that they have new job or they change the employer. So this is where we can most likely understand what is actually happening with hiring. Because everyone knows that sometimes the companies are posting jobs that are not, it's called ghost jobs, that are not actually fulfilled. So we cannot judge about hiring just looking at the number of job openings, because we don't have this information, how many of them are closed. So that's why this number is based on the actual observation inside LinkedIn when people are changing their employer, and at the same time they're changing their most recent position. So that's the indication that they were most likely hired for some other position. And that's exactly the number that is used for this chart. 10 years ago, there was X amount of people who was average monthly was changing the employer and their position at the same time. And that's the indication that they were probably hired to something new or to some new place. So if we look at 10 years ago and we index the current amount of people who do that month by month, we can see that yes, one means it's the same, approximately the same amount of people like 10 years ago. So last year, this index was more or less in line with what was happening 10 years ago. This year, the trend is a little lower. Yes, it is lower, but look at this number. It's not dramatically lower. It's slightly lower, but it's not like it's half the level or almost no one is hiring. Things are happening. Yes, they might be better. Let's hope they will be better, but it's not, nothing dramatic happens. So yes, hiring is slowing down, but it's not significantly lower. And the last number, I promise that's the last number. One more tricky number, the business analysts are inventing to make things confusing. Now we are going back to specifically students before graduation. And this, again, is pretty long trend, 6 years. And it shows that on average, how many job offers per student happens or comes to students before they even graduate. I know it's a little tricky. What does it mean? 1.1. It means that every student on average received at least one job offer, and some students received more. The numbers that we see, the most recent numbers this year, it's below 1. It means that not every student received a job offer before they graduated, but significant majority received, because it's not like 0.001 or 0.005, it's close to 1. It means that many students received their job offer even before they graduated. So yes, the job market is tight, but it's not dramatic, and nothing significant happens that will make your life much more complicated than 5 years ago or 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Okay, so now we kind of clarify the situation. Yes, job market is not easy, but nothing significant happens, nothing different from few years ago. Okay, and now let's look at some digital media that will help you to get that meaningful employment even while you're still students. And number one, I am very proud. If you're not part of that yet, please make sure that you become the part of that. Handshake is number one, and it's the first and the only one. It's a dedicated platform for students to look for jobs while they're still students and find internships. It's built specifically for students. So you're not competing with professionals with 5, 10 years of experience. So you're not yet in the bigger job market, and you're kind of competing with similar with students and employers who are looking, who are supporting that. That's the next slide. Significant amount of them is big corporations, like almost every Fortune 500 company is supporting and actually looking for the students, for internships, for some career fairs, and they support that network. So more than 1 million employers at the moment look this handshake system for hiring students specifically, because that's for students only and fresh graduates. So that makes it unique. If you haven't yet created your account, I highly recommend you to look at that. So this is mobile first application. You can find them on both Apple Store and Google Play. Install it on your mobile device and actually start working with that with few steps. Again, for the sake of those who are not yet part of that handshake. On step 1, obviously, you need to create your profile and complete it to get noticed, because people will be looking using some filters. So you definitely need to complete the profile, indicate your level of expertise, your area of expertise, if you have any previous background, your projects. So whatever the profile will be asking you for. They don't expect there will be a lot, because it's for students. No one expects you to be there similar to people who had 10, 15 years of experience in the past. So that's number 1 step. Number 2 step is good if you also share your interests in the jobs. What type of jobs, what type of internships, or what type of projects you're looking for, because the system will help you get more personalized job recommendations or invitations for the career fairs or some events. So that will be very helpful if you complete that and you pick up something that actually interests you. On number 3 step, I suggest that you become a little more interactive, because it's kind of social media, but social media specifically for employment for students and recent graduates. The employers there, the system allows you to reach out to the members. You can write out to employers. You can use that internal texting, nothing special, but kind of you can text the employers if, for example, they announce the job opening, or if they announce some event that you would like to attend. So you can always reach out and text them, ask a few questions, or just it will help you get a little more visibility versus other students. And finally, I recommend you start networking. So you attend some events to meet employers or get introductions, because usually the job is easy to get if you have a little bit of personal touch and it's not just digital profile. So some employers make online events, some employers make it in person. So try to look for those events, try to attend them, connect with people, and actually grow your network. That will definitely help out. They have a nice, easy to follow events calendar. You can put some notifications so you will be informed of any specific career event close to you geographically or in the area of your interest if you connect digitally. So 4 easy steps, and you can join like today and start improving your visibility while you're still a student. Okay, now, if you're past that, if you're looking in the bigger job market, the next platform that I'm going to spend a little longer is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is number 1 and the best professional social media that now have more than 1 billion members across 200 countries. And that's the official statistics. 10 years ago, it wasn't that big. The beauty of that system is that it's mostly used for professional communication. It's not just to keep your digital resume and look for the jobs, like job boards. Yes, it is, but there is much more. inside LinkedIn that I wanted you to know and start using. So once you're done with Handshake, because that will be your first sandbox, once you're ready to step into the bigger world, I sincerely suggest you consider LinkedIn not only as your digital resume, but also as a full-scale network and career advancement platform. It's also used a lot for knowledge sharing and for personal branding, something that you already know. And of course, job search and hiring. But how successful and how efficient and how well are you using LinkedIn is directly dependent of how actively you're using available features. How do you update your profile? How professional your profile is, and how professional your communication is in this platform. That's why I wanted to tell you a little more about features that you can start using today or maybe this week. And that would be my ask for you for this week. Okay, we start with the profile, like few steps we discussed before. First, how people see you. Usually they see you, and this is the first screen that people will see your profile. And as you can expect, there are few sections, few elements, kind of similar to Handshake, but a little more advanced because now we are stepping in the more competitive and bigger professional market. So the picture behind of course you have headshot. Usually I say that if you can make it in the whitish background or pale background, that will be better, because in most cases your headshot will be projected against the background, and that will be some kind of picture. There is no strong rule what you can choose for the background for this banner. You can use any brand or anything that will project your expertise, or you can use the nice picture from the location you're living. And that was my choice. That's iconic picture and obviously recognizable. And you can see my headshot is made on the white background, so it makes it a little more contrast versus a little better contrast versus banner. So that's why I usually say try to use that. Then next, what is important is obviously your name. LinkedIn allows you to keep not only your current legal first and last name. In my case, for example, 20 years of my industrial career was under a different name. So I can keep my maiden name here, and it will be visible to those in my network who remember me under that name. So it helps you to keep your previous names, gender pronouns, and one nice touch. You see this little kind of sound icon? You can record how you want to pronounce your name. At least 10 seconds voice recording, you can keep that. And in my case, this icon means that I did record my name. Some of the names may sound especially foreign names like mine, no one can even understand how to read that, how to pronounce that. That's why if you help people recording your own name, how to pronounce that easier, or your preferred pronunciation, that will be very helpful. Again, nice touch, but may help you to get more connections and more introductions. Additionally, there is a button that helps you to put a special frame around your headshot. And that will be colorful frame that will help to attract attention for those people who scroll or who are kind of looking at the lists of people. Most often you can add the special highlight around your headshot that announces that you're open to work, and that's a green color, or that you are hiring. And similarly, you can look at the people and the members on LinkedIn who are hiring, and maybe it will make your life easy if you try to connect to them directly. So what else is good for on the very first page? Here, usually, by default, it shows your most recent education and most recent place of employment. You can modify that. There is a button here that will help you modify that, but that's what automatically pops up next to your name. And what is really important here is the headline. By default, it picks up your last or most recent title in employment. But it's not necessarily, it shouldn't be left like that. You can definitely use that headline to indicate more keywords. I mean, keywords, so the areas when you consider yourself being a professional, or even some people write mission statement. For example, I help high school students navigate educational system, something like that. So use these characters wisely, because that is your most direct introduction of who you are and what you're doing. I'm not even talking about SEO optimization and keywords density and all that. Okay, so once we are past that, there are a few more sections that I recommend you to add to your profile, so to make it more holistic picture, to show you and your expertise in a better way. So your professional experience, you can put it in a few sections, more than one. As you can see, you can decide which sections you want to show, which sections you want to make visible. So usually the section that is called About is a textual summary, including, again, your key skills, key competences, something that you would like to summarize in maybe in one paragraph, maybe a couple of paragraphs, something short and sweet that will introduce you as an expert. Then you have professional experience. And usually this is the professional, like it's your employment history in the reverse timeline. I mean, most recent is on the top, the oldest is at the bottom. You can always choose which lines or which moments of your professional career you leave open. You don't need to put every survival job that you worked in your life. We all had that experience and those moments. So you can selectively put only those professional experiences or employment moments that will help you to project more authority and more expertise. So be selective. Optionally, there are a few more sections you can use to add more. For example, you can put so-called featured content. Usually, this is the area when people put some of the interviews or their portfolio of works. And that also helps to see who you are, just get a little better understanding of what you're capable of, if you can show the example of your work, for example. Or you can also indicate the projects you're participating in, if it was during your student life or some moment it was not employment, but it was a project you were connected to, and there is something that will help you to showcase your expertise. You can also add the section with volunteering. I mean, all those sections you can selectively show and fill or make invisible. You can play with this visibility and kind of create your digital footprint as a Lego. You can decide which pieces will help you the best, which pieces probably not. So you have a lot of features that you can use and leverage to showcase your expertise. Now for the educational section. Again, your knowledge. It was work-related experience, and this is your knowledge. In order to show your knowledge base, again, you can use several different sections. Depends what you would like to showcase. Traditionally, in the section that is called education, we put all long-term programs that you completed, at least a year or so. There is one more section that is called licenses and certification, and traditionally we put here short-term programs. I mean, some boot camps or some like short programs less than 6 months. Again, it's just a rule of thumb. There is no way, there is no right or wrong way. This is just the tradition. Section education, a little longer programs. Section licenses, certifications, shorter programs. In addition to that, you can also use so-called skills. There is a long list of professional skills which serve as keywords when people are looking for your profile and trying to assess what exactly do you know or what skills do you have, if it's not directly follows from your education or your licenses and certifications or work experience. So you can selectively pick up skills up to 100 from the list that LinkedIn suggests you. And that will help you additionally to stand out in the filters in this automate in these systems that will look and then recruiters that will look into your profile. So this is one more area where you can be leveraging and helping your profile to stand out a little more, showcase your expertise through skills. And last but not least, there is a section that's called recommendations. And those are kind of letters of recommendation, but in a very short format, digital, that will be added by other LinkedIn members to your profile. Usually you ask someone you're connected to, your maybe ex-teachers, your ex-colleagues, or your boss to give you that kind of recommendation. And that's also helpful because it helps to see that you were doing a great job as a student, as a worker, as a volunteer. What is important is that it should be another LinkedIn member. It's not like some random person. Okay, hopefully that gives you enough tools just to consider how you would like to construct your digital profile. And you see, LinkedIn allows you to do a lot. Once you did that, once you decided that you are good with your profile, I suggest you always look at step 2 and start building your network. LinkedIn allows you to connect to other LinkedIn members. And if you directly connect to them, it's called first-degree connection. It means that you can see all of their details, all their work experience, and you can text them directly. You can communicate with them directly. But in addition to that, you can also see their first-degree connections. And those connections, you can see a little less, but those are called second degree. It's people who are directly connected to your direct connections in LinkedIn. I hope that's clear. So why it's good? Let me show you my screenshot. So this is my screenshot from my profile. So this is my first degree connections. I can look for them. I can filter them. For example, I can look for people who live in San Francisco Bay Area, or at least they indicate that they are operating in San Francisco Bay Area, and people who are actively hiring, who made that section in their profile that they're actively hiring right now. I can even filter the company they're working for, if I'm interested in some specific job opening. So you see, and if I'm connected to those people, I can message them directly. I just click the button and send them some message, asking questions or asking or just attracting attention to my application. But these people, they also have first degree connections that I don't know of, but I can see them. And those are my second degree connections on the bottom side of my screen. And I can do the same. I can check out who is also living or working in San Francisco Bay Area and who is also actively hiring. And maybe if it's not in my network, in my direct network, but in the network of my direct network, I can find someone who might be helpful and who might give me a referral or give me some information or connect me with someone else. Unlike first degree connections, I cannot message them directly. I can if I have a premium paid subscription with some limitations, but I can ask them to connect with me. I can get introduced by first degree connections, my first degree connections to those. So there is some value in having that visibility, even if it's partial visibility. And the more first degree connections you have, the more second degree people you can reach out to. So sometimes 100 people here can lead you to 1,000 people here, or maybe a few thousand people. So that's the power of building connections through LinkedIn platform. Step number 3, because it's social media, you will benefit if you're using that actively. So become a little more interactive, not just put your profile, polish it, make it look professional, connect with other people. if you become interactive, because it's social media, it's for social. You can post something, whatever you consider important. And unlike maybe your personal social networks, this is more professional. So it's not the place when you can post information about your family, about household, or kids and pets. Some people do that. Don't be discouraged. But mostly people try to post about some areas of expertise. Some areas of expertise that they want to be connected to. So that also indirectly helps to promote your personal brand. So the posts that will be mostly visible to your first-degree connections. Sometimes above, but mostly to first-degree connections. If you feel confident enough, you can start writing so-called articles. It's a different kind of post, much longer, and it's usually more complicated, more in-depth content. And that will be visible to everyone in LinkedIn community. I mean, all these billion plus people, provided that you write something interesting for them. So articles is a great way to showcase your expertise outside of your immediate network. Something easier, you can also engage with content of other people. Read the articles, comment, maybe like them, because that will also help to build to understand what resonates with you more, what are the areas that you're interested in. Additionally, you can also create or attend events that are created inside LinkedIn, and they can be in person or they can be online. You can organize them themselves, invite others to join. And if you're really, really confident, you can do live streams. I mean, there is an option to go live, like in most of the social networks. So you can be streaming, broadcasting. Again, it has the similar characteristics and features like Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and you name it, Snapchat. But here is the more professional environment. So the topics of conversation, the events are usually built around some professional areas that will help you build your professional personal brand and your career in there. Okay, and last but not the least, it's very important, and that's the best you can get from LinkedIn knowledge base. Many years ago, there was a company that was offering online educational resources. It was called Linda.com. So it was purchased by LinkedIn. And then LinkedIn was purchased by Microsoft. But it's a different story. So there is still a huge collection of high quality online resources related to different areas of profession or recruitment or job search, you name it. It's a huge professional knowledge base. And you can get access to those enormous resources for free if you have any of the paid subscriptions, or one by one decide which courses, which presentations, which workshops you would like to learn. So there is more than 1,000 courses in most recent technology, leadership, industry specifics, you name it. So don't forget that it's social media, but it's also the knowledge base, the biggest and quite affordable at your fingertips. Okay, I hope I encouraged you to use more options inside LinkedIn. And finally, I'm looking at the timeline. So I wanted to tell a little more about these most recent technologies and all the hype around AI and AI-aided recruitment, because we hear a lot. And as a former tech professional also, my first degree is in computer science, and 30 years ago, I was involved in the projects that are now called AI, or artificial intelligence. It was a different name 30 years ago, but it was more or less the same idea. So what happens now in this area? What is actually working? What is the hype? What is not? So what happened? First of all, couple of words. ATS, just in case you didn't hear about that, ATS is the applicant tracking system. That's, in the simplest way, it's a database that is keeping track of applications for job announcements. So once you apply for some job, you put your data into some database. And this database is the place when it can be filtered, stored, ranked, used somehow, your information. So those are the ATS systems. They can be more complicated, less complicated, but it's basically the way to keep and work with the information that is provided by job applicants. And AI, it's a generic term that's usually complicated software algorithms that help to process data and make some actions, provide some degree of automation in digital space. Let's call them robots for the simplicity. It's not robots, but let's call them robots, just to make it simple. So what happened last year and this year? And this is really, really something that we never experienced before. So since these big ChatGPT-like systems became publicly available, so everyone knows ChatGPT from OpenAI, Copilot from Microsoft, Gemini from Google, Claude from Anthropic, okay, just name a few. So most of the job seekers are smart enough, so they use these AI tools to write their resumes, to tailor their cover letters, to optimize the LinkedIn profile, search for open vacancies, and even automatically apply for jobs using some of so-called AI agents or the programs that you instruct to do something for you. So job seekers are pretty sophisticated, so they are doing a lot. And what happens? The amount of applications increased dramatically, maybe 10 times. Because in the past, people would spend time to look for the job announcements, then tailor the resume, then apply. Now it can be all done automatically, and some other system, some AI agent will be doing it instead of you while you're doing your other things. So it means that the amount of applications, just the volume of applications, increased dramatically. So what happens at recruiters' side? In the past, they were using these ATS systems to keep track of the applications and also sort and somehow navigate them. But at the moment, the amount of applications is so big and they look so similar because the job seekers are becoming sophisticated, so they're using technologies. So these ATS systems are not enough anymore. So I heard that from some recruiters, every time they post something online, within a day, they receive thousands of very similar applications that go into this ATS system, and they are literally dumped by this amount. So what they're trying to do instead, and it becomes more and more widespread, they're also using AI agents that they instruct to find and search candidates online. And most often they go to LinkedIn because that's the most accurate and most professional digital network, and people are keeping the information up to date. Yeah, they're showing themselves in the best possible way. So they're using different AI tools to specifically look for candidates online, even though these people didn't apply, didn't respond to that job. They didn't get into this ATS database. So these systems automatically filter and look, and they match digital profile to job requirements, whatever instruction they had, this AI task. And even more, they can reach out to candidates automatically. They can send them automated messages that will be customized and personalized and sound nice. And when recruiters are using these tools, they still can get like 100 of filtered candidates who are unaware of that position, and they will receive the same message from that AI thing that recruiters are using, but maybe 10 of them will reply, and then the recruiters will have these 10 interviews. So what happens is, at the moment, it looks like the level of automation on both sides is so high that job market is indeed became more difficult, more difficult than ever before, because we have bots working behind all these like sites, behind job seekers and recruiters, and we don't know yet how it all works. Okay, so we are in an interesting moment that never happened before. No one knows exactly how to navigate that, but we're doing our best. Yeah, that's the only thing we can do. If that's not enough, the recent research that was published, and this is the link to that research if you would be interested to look into more details, it shows, it's very recent study, it's like 2 months ago it was published, that this AI-assisted screening systems prefer applications that are also written with the help of AI system. And not only any AI system, but exactly the same system. I mean, robots prefer to talk to robots and not humans. And they recognize when this application was helped by similar system. And LLM stands for large linguistic model. It's kind of the language, let's call it this way, that is preferred and used by this or that system. Like Cloud is using its own, it's one big LLM. It's using English, but it's kind of using it differently, has different style. Copilot is using its own style. So all of them are LLMs. So it means that Copilot will recognize the resume that was built with the help of Copilot and will prefer that. Because like humans, these complicated systems, they like to speak to someone who is similar to them. So not only the amount of the volume of applications and the level of automation is so high, we even came to the moment in history when robots prefer to talk to robots and not to humans. So it's interesting time, but what we can do right now, we can maintain our professional profile. Use as many elements as I mentioned today. In LinkedIn, in Handshake if you're still a student. Make it look as professional as possible. Grow your professional network, not only online, but also offline. Connect to real humans, because most likely your next job comes from knowing someone or someone else knowing someone and making the introductions. And most importantly, manage your digital footprint. Think about what you publish, where you publish, and how. If you have the most professional LinkedIn profile and you publish most interesting topics as you post in LinkedIn, but at the same time in your personal Instagram or TikTok, you're posting something that might not be so helpful to your professional image, think about before posting that, because these AI tools that are constantly looking and filtering you and creating your profile and assessing you, they are looking not only on LinkedIn, they are looking at all your digital footprint, and they are making their summaries and they are making their recommendations, and they are judging you by how you present yourself in all possible digital media, not only professional networks. So think about that all the time. And apply what I call the grandma rule. Before you post anything at all digitally, think about that. Will your grandma approve that? And if not, think twice before posting that. The current level of automation, how quickly they can screen all possible media, how they collect information, how they profile you, what judgment and recommendation they make to recruiters who are using these AI-aided search and hiring tools, you would be amazed. So that just calls for more reasonable and more responsible maintenance of your digital footprint. Okay, with that, it's all I wanted to tell you. We still have some time for questions. And all I wanted to say that I probably told a lot in this hour. Maybe you won't be able to use anything at once, but pick up at least a couple of items from this presentation. You don't need to be perfect. Just do something this week, a little step this week, a little element in your profile on link to handshake, and your future self will thank you. And this is my LinkedIn, this is the QR code that will help you connect to my LinkedIn profile. I am more than happy to help you stay connected. And with that, I am ready to check the questions and actually open the floor for your comments, your considerations, or your questions. Norma, can we look at any questions, if there were any questions